So I caught another movie on Tubi that turned out to be good. And I'll explain to you guys how it turned out to be good in 1 second. But before I do, please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Keep coming back for more content. I appreciate you all and thank you for coming. But like I said, this movie turned out to be good. It's called Glamping. Yeah, with a G, not camping, glamping, glamorous camping. I would call it a horror comedy. That seems to be the thing with most Tubi horror movies, horror comedies. They have some straightforward horror movies as well. But all that aside, glamping. Glamping, if you watch the first 15, 20 minutes of it and didn't get through it, I truly understand why, because it didn't come on like anything that I truly wanted to watch. It's, the group of friends, interactions with each other are very carefree. They're pretty boring. They're just, it's based around this girl Olivia, who's an influencer, and her boyfriend Gabe, and their friends, their two friends, and Olivia's starting to lose followers. And the only way for me to convince you to watch this movie is to go ahead and tell you about it. So I apologize. You may never watch it, but if you choose to watch it, this is the only way that I can convince you to watch it, is to truly just kind of tell you about it while kind of spoiling it, but maybe leaving something to desire, because it is worth a watch, but you got to get through the first 15, 20 minutes. But like I was saying, Olivia's an influencer. She's starting to lose followers. So she comes up with this idea for her and her friends to go on this dream cabin vacation to unplug. So she has underlying motivations, which is the reason why she's doing this, because the whole time she's been researching basically how to get her followers back. And the weekend basically takes a dark turn at some point, and what was supposed to be a planned home invasion turns into basically everybody dying. So Glamping, like I said, it's a weekend trip type movie with friends in another isolated, consolidated location. Very pretty. The film explores the dynamics of friendship, in my opinion, especially when you maybe have an influencer as a friend. So I think it explores those dynamics between friends, real friends, relationships, isolation. These people are getting ready to graduate, so they're getting ready to go their separate ways potentially, and they have survival challenges, and not survivor challenges, survival challenges. Trust erodes in this movie, and it's the perfect for a horror setting. The killer identity remains hidden basically the entire movie. And then when it is revealed, and it's nobody that's a part of the four friends, which was a good little twist, when the killer's identity is revealed, it basically takes us down this Knives Out type of breakdown of the movie. It goes backwards in time from Olivia's standpoint. Then it shows that she was losing followers. She was trying to she went to like this horror company to plan out this fake home invasion where she can get scared and get roughed up and, show it on social media so people will feel sorry for her so she can get her followers back. And it also takes us from the actual killer perspective, and it takes us from the person that she hired to be the home invader perspective. The home invasion guy, he came there before they got there, set up traps and things hanging from trees and dolls, those voodoo type dolls inside the house. They're just everywhere, just to scare them and stuff like that. Olivia's obviously catching everything on social media, and this is all planned so she could tell how scary it is. So his perspective, nothing basically happens. It just shows him, setting everything up or whatnot. The killer perspective is where it's kind of interesting, because it shows him basically killing the fake home invader guy and basically taking control. So Olivia is dumb to this, and once her friends start to die or get hurt, because they start getting hurt before they die, after her friends die, she begins to kind of transform into this kind of badass, but she eventually ends up with that shotgun that's inside the cabin, and she holds the killer at gunpoint. Hey, come with me. We got to get our story straight, because she thinks this is the fake home invader guy. So she takes him inside. They put the bodies in the house. Her boyfriend was also stabbed by this point, and we'll talk more about him in a second because he comes back in the story. And, she's like, oh, what did you do? You're supposed to rough me up. You weren't supposed to do all of this. We got to get our story straight. And this is not what I hired you to do. So the killer, standing there with his plain white mask on, and he's just like, so he walks past her to this closet and is just like, is this the guy you're talking about? Because a guy falls out of the closet. Is this the guy you hired? So then, this is before the montage of backstory that shows where everybody's perspectives went. But now she's like, shit, who is this? Well, if that's the guy I hired, then who the fuck are you? So we have that moment between the two, but eventually they get into a tussle. The boyfriend Gabe comes back. He stabs the killer in the back. The killer obviously ends up dying eventually. And to speak on the killer, he's the boyfriend of somebody that Olivia knew who's also an influencer. And I guess the girl went crazy or did something to herself. I can't remember what happened with that. But he's basically just wanting to get revenge. And Olivia, how'd you even find us to get revenge? Well, how do we find all influencers, at least the dumb ones? They drop their locations. So when you drop your location, it's very easy to find you, whether I want to do anything to you. Quick side note, stop dropping your locations at least until after you've left the place, because that's what a smart person would do. They would drop their location after they leave. That way, if somebody was actually looking for them, they would be there or go there after you have left, so you are safe. So that's my advice to influencers, if influencers really still exist, because everybody wants to be a streamer now. So that's basically what I have to say about that. The natural environment of the movie was fine. The film does balance horror and humor pretty well. It drags out for about 15, 20 minutes before it becomes interesting. If you can get past those 15, 20 minutes, you'll be fine because you'll enjoy the rest of the movie. I promise you. And if you don't, drop a comment and tell me why you didn't, or drop a comment and tell me that you just could not make it through those 15, 20 minutes, because believe me, it was hard. I thought about turning it off several times in that first 15 or 20 minutes, but I pushed through. I didn't have anything else to do, so that's probably why. But it was worth pushing through because it did turn out to be a pretty good movie in the end. Like, Glamping was entertaining, was after the first 15, 20 minutes, it becomes pretty fast. Another character-driven story. Would not call this a horror classic by any means. Character-driven story, horror comedy, some dark humor, but all in all, a good film. I do recommend going to check it out. It's over on Tubi. It's another Tubi original. And if and when you guys watch it, I just want you guys to answer this one question for me. How satisfying or non-satisfying was the killer's reveal? I thought it was pretty satisfying because if the killer would have been one of the four friends, which I mean, the only person that said it would have been one of the four friends, it would have either been Gabe, the boyfriend, or Olivia, the influencer, setting everything up or whatever the case may be. So that's the only way that version of the story could have went. So I'm glad they went with this double secret kind of twist reveal of who the killer actually was. Even though his motivation was kind of lame and maybe he should have been worried about his girlfriend and seeking revenge on people that you don't really know is kind of dumb. But if he didn't do it, we wouldn't have a movie. So with that being said, thank you guys for coming. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and keep coming back for more. I appreciate you all. Thank you for coming. See you next time. Bye.